morning, everybody!
I knew by counting off we would get that reaction. That's fine. Whatever. Okay. Today, guys, hush. According to the lab that we did before, we talked about, we looked at different cells, right? What were some things that we noticed about these cells?
Different shapes and sizes.
They have different shapes and sizes. That's the main theme of what we looked over. Different shapes and sizes. What was the biggest cell that we saw?
Human.
The plant cell, the allium root tip. And then humans was kind of in the middle. Bacteria were really tiny, and that's usually how they are. Do you remember how many bacteria could go side by side to fit the diameter of a human egg cell?
1,000, 2,000, 2,000.
2,000 bacteria cells could fit side by side in the diameter of a human egg cell. What? That's crazy. So these things can be very different. Just because it's a cell doesn't mean they're the same size or anything. They can be different. Today we're going to talk about another difference here. Unicellular organisms, which is single-celled organisms. Anybody know what unit means? One. Spanish word for one is? Uno. In French, you say un. Un. It's like un, deux, trois, faire. Something like that. So uni means one. Cellular means
two.
Cell, of course. So one-celled organism. These single cells must carry out all the functions necessary for what, Jacob?
The unit basic of life.
Well, they are the basic unit of life. They need to carry out all the functions necessary.
So you can live.
So
you can live.
So you can live. So for life.
Oh, I guess.
Well, it's
It's a good
supposed
guess.
to set it up.
That's a good guess.
Good guess.
Nice job.
They get their own energy. So one of the things they have to do, like one of the functions of life, is you need energy, right? So they have to get their own energy. Usually from what? Where do you usually get? Where do we get energy from?
Food.
Calories.
Food.
Oh yeah.
We usually get energy from food, or
Energy drinks.
some single-celled organisms get their
5-hour
energy
energy.
from the sun through photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. Okay. They're responsible for getting their own energy. They're also responsible for reproduction. Also motion and production of enzymes. They have to. What's production mean?
When you make something.
To produce
To make
something.
something. To produce something. Yeah. So making. Production is making or whatever. So they are responsible for making their own enzymes. Also, they need to eliminate. What do you think, Joey?
Like bacteria or not bacteria?
Well, bacteria actually are single-celled organisms.
Disease.
Anybody else? You're on the right track here.
Bacterial media.
What?
Waste. Yeah, they want to get rid of waste. Like the junk that they've used up. Just like we get rid of waste by pooping. Bacteria have to get rid of waste somehow too. Bacteria don't poop.
Derek, stop writing paper.
A lot of times it might be exocytosis actually. Remember that term? So they are responsible for doing all the functions that are necessary for life. So here are a few examples of single-celled organisms. Euglena, Oscillatoria, Dolocapsa. Now, you guys don't need to memorize these names, okay? Those are just examples. So if they're unicellular organisms, what do you think a multicellular organism is, Jeffrey?
Many cells put together.
Yeah.
Or many organisms.
What are you, Jeff?
Wait.
Great.
Or many cells.
Many cell
Multiple
organisms. So multi means many. Obviously, cellular again means cell. So many celled organisms. There are many cells within one organism.
U.S. cellular.
So almost all cells of multicellular organisms can do basic functions. What are some examples of that might be basic functions?
Moving.
maybe moving, maybe motion.
Motion sickness.
Not all of them do motion.
Change.
Well, that's transportation. Transportation is moving. What are some things that you need to do to live?
Breathe.
Reproduction.
Eating, breathing,
Get some oxygen.
Reproduce.
wasting.
They can reproduce. They can make enzymes, etc., etc. So they can all somehow reproduce. They can make enzymes, etc. But many of these cells have certain
Love.
strengths
Weaknesses.
and weaknesses. In other words, just like in a community here, we have, for instance, I am specialized in doing what?
Teaching.
Science.
Teaching science.
Biology.
Okay, so I might not be as good as a
Math.
family consumer science teacher as, actually, I got a better grade on my math than science, so I might be halfway decent at math. Who knows?
What's 2 plus 2?
But
Teach
like,
history.
but
22.
history, I might not know as much
What's 2 plus
about.
2 plus
Fish.
46?
2 plus 2 is fish.
Way to go, I don't know that. Oh yeah, I do!
All right.
Got it.
They have their own strengths and weaknesses. Just like I might be a halfway decent science teacher, but I might not have all the tools or the knowledge necessary to, for instance, I got my car fixed last week.
Did you get a new car?
No.
Oh, that's good.
And
You liar.
I had to fix my timing belt. I had to fix my timing belt.
Dave has.
Yeah, it does.
Who's that?
But, shh, Derek.
Hush.
No, just,
I'm right here.
you're fine. You're fine, Derek.
Yes!
So, I didn't have the tools or the time or the skills necessary to change my timing belt. So what do?
Ask someone else who knows what they're doing.
Send it to the mechanic, someone who is skilled, who has the tools, and has the knowledge,
And
Right.
hey.
and the time to do it.
Time's most
Okay.
important.
So,
Yeah.
they depend on me. Why do they depend on me?
Money.
Because they love
Money, and also,
Future business.
Good
maybe
friends.
they have kids in the school that I teach their kids, right?
Better grades.
So I might be able to teach their kids science better than they can. And they can fix my car better than I can. Right?
Touche.
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 Mutual.
Tushy.
Okay. Derek, shh, you're getting out of hand, okay? So, that's the idea behind this. Just like I am, I don't know, maybe halfway decent at teaching science, and someone else is better at being a mechanic, our cells are the same way. Our cells have strengths and weaknesses too. Okay. For instance, only blank cells can marry. No.
What?
I didn't talk about marriage yet. They can carry messages from one part of the body to another.
Nerve cells.
Nerve cells. Yep. That's the picture right here. These nerve cells. They can carry messages from one part of the body to another, but they can't move things. They can't move things.
Human cells.
Well, nerve cells are part of the human body.
Like
Muscle.
blood cells.
Whatever.
Muscle cells.
Oh.
Nice job, Chapo.
So these things, do you think? But muscle cells. Why do the muscle cells need nerve cells?
So you can feel when you
Move.
really too hard.
That could be part of it.
So they can send it to your brain.
All right. Or the brain can send a signal to your muscles. Like my brain tells my fingers to move, or for my hands to make my arm to make a certain motion, right?
Like a circle.
So it's our different cells need each other. Cells that are adapted for specific functions are said to be blank because they have a special purpose.
Life-flighted.
Specialized. I kind of emphasize special purpose. So they have a special purpose, so they're specialized.
And a pow.
So this is like read on and you figure it out.
Kind of like that. They're specialized because they have a special purpose. What are the benefits of having specialized cells? So go ahead and think about it. We've sort of talked about it already. What are the benefits of having specialized cells? Hint, why might you go to a mechanic? Think about it for a few seconds. Oh,
Come on,
I said don't say anything.
Yeah.
So now talk to the person next to you about it.
Very well.
I like AG's response there. Go ahead and read what you said.
They're better at certain jobs than other cells.
Yeah, because they're better at certain jobs than other cells.
Bless you.
Now, because certain cells are better than others at carrying out specific tasks, they are
Dependent.
good. Chapo!
You're on a
Good
roll.
boy. They're dependent on each other. Now let's talk about,
I wasn't done with that.
are cells the highest level of organization?
No.
No. They're actually the basic building blocks of the living world. They're the fundamental units of life, right?
Jobs.
Joey.
You good?
I'm good. Good boy.
So, cells don't just have one cell to do a job.
They have many.
They have many cells.
They multiple.
And actually, cells work in groups a lot of times to accomplish a certain purpose. So a group of cells that have the same basic,
Organism.
Function.
Uni.
Organism.
what's that?
Duty. Function.
Duty. I like dunk function. I think that's where, yeah. Function's down there.
Top one.
Same basic blank and function.
You skipped one.
I know, I did that on purpose.
Structure?
Good. Structure. They have the same basic structure and function. So if you look, cells with the same basic structure and function that are together are called?
Tissue.
Tissues. Good.
Nice.
That was bolded.
So there we have connective tissue, epithelial tissue, muscle tissue, and nervous tissue. What do you notice about the structure of all these cells in the
It's
connective
so
tissue?
pink. It's pink.
How did the structures of these cells compare to each other?
They're like all like close together.
Yeah, they look pretty much the same, right? And they're going to have the same function. Connective tissue connects things a lot of the
Is
time.
that like, that sounds really weird, like in Turkey, like the Chinese stuff holds it together?
Yep, that's part of it.
Okay.
Yep, the stream yep, the tendons and ligaments and stuff like that. I think also epithelial tissue is another type. Do you guys know what epithelium is?
It's Jacob.
I don't know what it is.
Just
Okay.
wait. I'll find it.
It's
Epithelial
Sounds
tissue.
like helium.
Epithelial is layerings. Okay, so all of your tissues have layers. Have you heard of fascia before? Maybe not. Oh, probably not. But each of your muscle sections has epithelium over it. It's a layer, and so it layers all your organs and keeps them nice and neat and protected. Muscle tissue, you know what that does. Nervous tissue, you kind of know how it does. It sends a signal. Okay, so
Jacob found it.
so first level organization is what? What's the first level of organ? Cells, yeah. So cells, and then a bunch of cells come together that if they have the same structure and function, they're called tissues. So the next level is tissue. Different tissues that work together are called an
Organ.
Organ.
Nice one, bro.
Chapo.
What do it, Orman?
They're called organs. So here's an example here. Let's think about an arm muscle right now. Muscles are organs, okay? A muscle organ. But it involves multiple things. It actually is going to probably involve all of these. So what does the connective tissue, what might that do?
Hold it together.
Holds the muscles together?
Yes.
Yeah. I like that. What else?
Bends.
What's that?
Bend your arm.
Bends. Well, connective tissue. What else does connective tissue and muscles do?
Does like connect
Right
to
your
your
face.
bones?
Yeah, connect muscles to bones. So I'm going to just call it connective tis. That kind of sounds funny. Connective tissue connects muscle to bone. So that has an important purpose in this specific organ. What about nervous tissue? What is there nervous tissue in muscles?
Yes.
There is. There's nervous. There has to be, because what do they do?
Sends nerve
Your brain
Electrical
sends
signals.
signals to it, yeah.
There you go. Your brain uses the nerves to send signals to your muscles to move. So my muscles don't do this automatically. They're told to do that by my brain. Okay. So nerve tissue. Nerve tissue sends signals to muscle tissue.
Does that say muscle to bone?
Why are you laughing?
Something Jacob said.
Epithelial tissue, we could say it connects, or it protects the tissues.
Sure.
Well, we'll just say the muscle tissue. We'll get the idea with this. Muscle tissue. Is this going?
Are we on?
Yeah, we are. Muscle
Hello?
tissue does what?
Makes up the muscle.
Yeah, a lot of the muscle organ is made up of muscle tissue. It's not completely muscle tissue because it has to have these two also, right?
Main component in muscle.
All right, yeah, it's the main component in muscle. But what does it actually do?
Helps you flex.
Yeah, it does the actual motion, right? Muscle tissue does the actual motion. So yeah, I mean, the muscle organ wouldn't be very much of a muscle organ if it didn't have muscle tissue to do its job, right? Now, let's take a look at this stomach over here. Here's the stomach organ. Can you see some of these parts of the stomach, these different tissues? Can you see it on your sheet?
It's the muscle.
Okay.
Inner layer, muscle layer, something else. And so they're made out of all of the tissues.
Yeah, it's made up of tons of tissues. Yeah, so the stomach has muscles. The stomach has nerves. The stomach has epithelial tissue. So it's all this stuff. It pretty much makes up, I would say almost every organ is made up of almost all the tissue, like all four of these tissues.
Son of a gun. I put this in the wrong box.
So what are some tissues that make up the stomach? We can talk about this. So there's a muscle layer here. Right there. There's an mucosa. That's kind of like submucosa. I think that's epithelium. So. I'm not going to require you to know this, but I just want you to. What's that? Submucosa. Like I said, you don't need to know the names of these necessarily, but I do want you to see how, like, these different tissues are parts of an organ. So you have cells, then what, Christian? Cells make up, there's one in between, cells that are the same type, tissue, and then tissues make organs. Organs, when they work together, it's called a system.
Nice one, Jacob.
One example that we have right here is the digestive system. It's made of the liver, the stomach, the large intestine, the small intestine, the anus.
Hey.
No smirking, Chapo. This is serious stuff. Poop is a very serious issue.
Feels good.
I poop in that.
Okay. Anyway, the stomach, intestines, liver, and the others work together to do what to food?
Digest.
Digest it. Chapo's on a roll.
He's cheating.
Off the
Are you looking off of AG's paper?
No, I'm borrowing his answers.
Far.
He's borrowing. He's giving it back later, though.
Okay. So they're working together to digest food. That's why they're collectively called what, Josie?
Digest.
Oh, go ahead.
Digestive
The digestive system.
Sorry, bro.
Because
Taking my
they work together to digest food. Digestive system.
I gave her that answer. Just like,
Oh yeah, that twin thing. Yeah. Other organ systems include.
Respiratory.
You guys.
Oh, you silly goose.
Respiratory. What does respiratory mean, Chapo?
It's resuscitating.
No.
Is it a word?
Resuscitatory.
Joey, do you know? Respiratory.
It means like
It's a system.
Respirating.
Your heart.
What is that? It has to do with air. So it has to do with breathing.
Breathing.
the air or oxygen in your blood cells.
Yep. Exactly. You want to get oxygen into your cells and what out?
Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide out. That's the purpose of the respiratory system. And it uses diffusion to do so. Remember that simulation? When the cells were near the lungs,
no.
there was a high concentration of oxygen,
Oh yeah.
and then it went in, and then you brought it to outer parts of the body where its concentration is low, then those cells let it out. Kind of remember that? Okay. Other organ systems include respiratory. I forgot which one this was. Circulatory. What is circulatory?
When it circulates.
Yes.
In a circular motion.
What
Blood.
circulates? Blood. Circulatory. Blood.
That's like your heart,
The roundabout.
Yep.
right?
It includes your heart, veins, arteries, all your blood vessels.
Like a roundabout.
It would include a spleen,
Oh, actually.
which I almost lost when I was in 7th grade.
How?
What's a spleen,
What is
dude?
Yeah,
Like,
kicked
can
by
you jump
a-
on a pool?
It is a
Kicked by a
blood
what?
filter.
You just lost blood?
It is a blood filter. It is not necessary to live,
How'd you get kicked?
but they say that you would lose 10 years off your life if you lost it.
Sounds fun.
Because it filters blood, so it keeps you healthier and stuff.
You almost lost it.
Also, the spleen is what, if you get mono, the spleen gets overridden with tons of nastiness, so it starts expanding, and so sometimes people's spleens burst when they get mono if it gets too bad.
And what happens?
What happened to
So
you?
does it kill you usually?
When I get kicked by a horse, I was lunging my horse. I'm gonna pause it here. So circulatory is blood, and there is reproductive systems too. Making the babies. Make the babies.
How are babies made?
Well,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
There's a machine in outer space that says milk.
this is biology class. If we, I don't know if we'll get.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
That's all right. Maybe it'll hinder some of your life decisions for a while, which might be beneficial. All
At least we don't have to.
right.
Jacob.
Organ systems are all part of an
Cytoplasm.
organism. We are organisms. We are made of organs, which are made of tissues, which are made of
Blood.
cells. See how this is flowing? All right, so they are all part of an organism. Also, organisms can come together to form.
Cytoplasm.
See if AG has this one. This one's a little tougher.
People.
People are
Muscle nerve.
Or we are
Organelle.
Organelles are
Trees,
actually
flowers, bird, bushes.
community is good.
I got it.
Organelles are actually parts of cells. So cells are made of organelles. So organisms also come together to form a community. But even this isn't the highest level of organization. You can have populations, and we talked about ecosystems. So all these are levels of organization. But we're going to stop there.
Cool guys.
Yes.
In our book, it says cuticles. And our cuticles like right here somewhere.
Yep. Cuticles are fingernails.
Yep.
It says that in the book.
Pretty sure. Okay. So just like organs, tissues and cells depend on each other. And different organisms depend on each other. So all these little parts that come together, they depend on each other. So I want you to think about.
Are we done for the night?
Just a second.
Oh, nice.
Guys, Derek. What I want you to do now is think through the levels of organization, starting at the simplest, and then work your way up. Think about it in your head, and then I'm going to have you talk about it with your partner, but not yet. Just think about it. All right, so cells come together to make tissues. You guys write this down too. Tissues come together to make organs.
It's a smiley face.
Organs come together to make organ systems.
Organism.
I don't know my
No,
Babies.
Then organ systems come together to make
Organisms.
organisms.
Love.
And organisms come together to make
Communities.
communities.
Stop,
you don't
Derek.
need love.
Guys, okay, that is all for today. Tomorrow, we are going to talk a little bit about certain parts of the cell more, starting with the cytoplasm.
Can I pause it? Can I pause it?
No, I want to pause.
Hi.